For some retarded reason, I jumped into Equard's stream today and I heard that he said no one does original content anymore, and I mean, I kind of agree with it, but of course, I do have to think of something original then, once in a while, because I am copying a lot of people's content and putting a little bit of a twist on it. Today's adventure is going to be traveling in the Outlands, using only a mule as a naked. There will be a few rules, so I do want to point them out before I start. The first rule is that I cannot take anything from my chest and I cannot use my silver to buy items from the market. But I can take donations, so if I start begging in the markets and someone decides to give me some tier 4 gear, I'll go for it, of course. I will also not be allowed to take any Avalonian portals. The most important rule is that I have to visit all of the portal towns in the game, and if I miss one, I have to restart, or if I die along the way, I have to come back to Martlock portal and do the route all over again. Now that we're in my multi-million-dollar program, I'm gonna mark the map out. So Martlock, the starting point and the finish point. On to Tedford, through the treacherous lands, on to Fort Sterling, might cost some city, but fuck it. Into Limhurst, into Bridgewatch, and finally the home run, back to Martlock. And if I complete this, what do I get? Well, I don't get anything basically, I just thought it would be cool. So honestly, let's just jump into the adventure and you can see how it went. I'm gonna be honest, the start was really slow because nothing really happened. So let's move to where all the content is located at. But as you can see, I quickly had to get my message ready just in case someone jumped on me, but this random guy probably thought I was just mentally insane and talking to myself. The thing I do have to look out for is getting dismounted, because mobs can dismount me in 1 or 2 hits, and players can dismount me in 1 or 2 abilities. So I do have to be careful because I don't have any armor on, so I might just get downed by the mobs just like I did right now. If someone finds me right now, I'm going to be like the Beast Heart Transporters in Swole Benji's Yellow Zone videos. Once my mount was back up, I could continue my treacherous journey. It was going to be dangerous, but I won't give up. You know why? Because I'm just that good. And just in a few zones, I already reached Tedford, so that's 1 out of the 5 or 4 already crossed out. I decided to beg, so I said that I was doing an experiment. People will expect that they give their gear to me and I will triple it or double it and give it back to them. But in this case, I will just take it and run off with it on my mule. But no one wanted to give me any loot, so I had to resort to begging. Since no one wanted to give me loot, I had to just mention that I won't forget this, so before going on with my journey, I quickly remembered every single person's name in this screen right now, just so I could contact my attorney and get them sued for it. And this guy actually wanted to give me 10k silver. He said for a mule. I already had one, so I was confused and said thank you and went on with my journey. I also thought that I would visit the city before I arrive at Fort Sterling, but I saw a medium chest and I could not just avoid it, so I had to run to it and let the boys know who's there. And then I begged them to give the chest to me, but they decided not to, so they dismounted next to me, and I called them rats because look at their gear sets. I'm more Guccier than that. I don't deserve this. After I arrived at the city, I decided to beg for more items because Morgana's Rest usually has Gucci people, right? Well, no, it was fucking dead. But I did manage to find this kind Polish guy next to me with the gloves, and he decided to actually give me something, you know. So I decided to entertain him, and I went to Google Translate to get a few sentences into Polish because it seemed that he didn't understand English pretty well. So we communicated with half Spanish, half English, and I don't even know what the fuck those other parts were, but we tried our best, that's the most important thing. Since he said he understood English a little bit, then I decided that I can just say please give me gear, that works, right? And oh boy, it did. Look at the first donation I got. How scrumptious. And I do need a couple of Polish people to translate this into the comments, please, because I don't know if I typed it correctly. I don't know if there was a spelling mistake, but it seemed like the man loved it. But sadly, he did say that he's watching me on YouTube, so sadly, I couldn't take handouts, so I had to act like I didn't know what YouTube was. So, I mean, it basically worked, right? He's confused. He thinks he has the wrong person because I've never heard of YouTube. Who is he? And I thought of a clever trick on how to fool him and get away of this awkward situation. I told him to close his eyes and to tell me when he does it, just so I know the air is safe. So I was counting down in my head, and once he laid down, I instantly sprinted for the gate. I didn't even look back once. I didn't even take invisibility. I was in such a hurry, and I escaped with my life. Well, that was until this guy started chasing me in the next map, and my heart was beating 1,000 beats per minute because I didn't want to go back to Martlock and restart there. That's like 20 maps away. So I just had to fully sprint, kite him out, outplay him because maintenance should come in less than 1 minute, so I should be able to escape easily, right? I'm gonna say he was really close to killing me here, but I felt the fire actually burn my ass cheeks, so I wasn't even worried about it. It wasn't that close, right? And thankfully, he couldn't chase me anymore because maintenance just started. When I came back to this great game, I was gazing into the distance on the character login screen, and I thought it was gonna be another fun day, until I got reminded that I'm on a mule in the middle of the black zone, waiting to run like 50 more maps, so I started running, of course. Until little Rio runs in the background, I'ma tell you about my Twitch, where I stream every day at 19:30 UTC. The link's gonna be in the description, so don't forget to join that. Otherwise, let's get back into the begging. So since the other methods didn't really work, I decided to say that I'm gonna do something special, if you know what I mean. And I also did a winky face at the end of it. Now I just hope that my guildmates wouldn't see me, so I didn't have to face the embarrassment of explaining myself. But it turned out that no one actually saw me, and I didn't get a single donation, so it was time to go ahead and head out of the portal town again. Honestly, as you can see, it didn't really take much time to get to Limhurst portal. It was pretty uneventful. I was just trying to get some silver on the way, but I quickly want to mention, meanwhile I'm running, that modifiers is recording. We are going to be doing world bosses, outposts, small scale, roaming and ganking. Also, a little bit of gathering in the Avaroods if you want. We have a hideout in the open world BLACKZONE and in the Avalonian roads for food and potion crafting. So the link will be in the description if you want to join. Otherwise, let's get back into the video again. So I asked for tier 4 gear, saying that I couldn't afford it. And of course, my mule is getting pretty tired, so he needs food as well. Because all the fiber we got, I had to eat it myself. Because I'm not making any money from this, so I can't really feed myself with it. Since begging doesn't really work anymore, I just had to tough it in and go for the next city, which is Bridgewatch. I quickly do want to mention that every single one of these clips, the quick ones, are at least one zone, meaning it took a long ass time to get to the Bridgewatch portal, but here I am already. I mean, not that long, right? So back to my normal shenanigans, I started begging for tier 4 gear, and I just explained it due to my shitty financial situation. But of course, no one listened to me per usual, and I just had to go on my route to end at the finish line in Martlock. I'm not gonna lie, the journey took me like 2 hours, but it was worth it at the end. It's not about what we achieve at the end, it's all about the friendships we made along the way, like the guy that gave me a sickle, or the guys that ignored me in banks. I remember all of your names. But, you know, we have to stay positive at the end of the day, since I did make it to Martlock on my first try, and I didn't think this would happen. I thought I'd have to do it like 10 times, but it is what it is, because I'm that fucking good! So now that I'm in Martlock, I quickly have to claim that I didn't even want their gear, because I didn't need it, right? Because they're pathetic. So I quickly went to the market to sell all my spoils I made on the way, the flax and the fiber harvester. And sadly, I did have to sell my mule because he was on his last straws. He was probably going to die the next 10 steps. Doesn't really sound like my problem, but otherwise, as you know, I'll see you later, alligator.